He is a lifelong explorer of technology solutions to solve capital market questions and uncover opportunities. He's worked in trading, he's been a chief risk officer, and he's been the head of advanced research. All of these highly correlate with the development of modern finance. He is now the principal of Frontier Foundry and the executive director of the FinTech Engineering Master's Program at Duke. Let's welcome Jimmie Lenz.
Well, I guess I'm the only thing standing between you and more beer. So let's see what I can do here. This is a really interesting time that we live in. I've had the opportunity to see some really cool things in my life, and this is a new one. And I'm such a firm believer in this, that AI, like other technologies, won't leave anyone behind. I hear a lot of fear about AI. I certainly hear a lot of questions. Probably could be more questions. But I really don't believe it will leave anyone behind. And this is why. So I've worn a lot of hats, but I'm a coffee guy. So these are some of the coffee mugs that I've collected over the many years. And they have something in common. They have something in common with Frank. So Frank Kelly was a fireman. Lived quite a while ago. He was a fireman down in Wilmington, North Carolina. Frank was a fireman at a time when there were certain technologies that were just coming into being. Incandescent lights were invented about a year after Frank was born. When incandescent lights came along, there was a lot of fear, not just from people who made gas lamps. There was a lot of questioning. And people were thinking, it's a little bit of a party trick maybe. But today, we think nothing of it. It's brought everybody along. Not only has it brought everybody along, but it's delivered so much more than the original promise. This good-looking guy came about at another time. A few years later, Frank was actually his great-grandfather. Yes, that is me. You guys didn't get that? You're like my students. I don't look that old. But I came to age as a trader when there were no laptops. There were no computers. We did all our trading on phones with a quote machine. Think about that, especially for younger people. When laptops came along, there were a lot of people that really rejected it. When electronic trading came along, which I kind of followed because I was a terrible salesperson and liked the quantitative side of things, people were in arms. This should be banned. This shouldn't be done. But guess what? That's where the world went. And it brought everybody along. So what's next? What's next? Well, what's next is AI. That's what we're seeing now. We're seeing it being used in a lot of different ways. And believe it or not, you're all using it. You're probably all using it right now. Whenever you shop, you're using AI. And no, it's not using you. You're using it. When you do almost everything, there is an element of AI to it. So just to give you a perspective, in every lifetime, you've seen these massive changes take place, and they brought everybody along. The incandescent lamp, computers. And well, AI, maybe we're not quite there yet, right? Because it took a little while for incandescent lights to catch on. Certainly took a while for computers to catch on, but they did. And they changed the way that we live. They brought us all in. And you see, not only did they bring people in, but they brought more people in than would have before. Think about it. So this little girl, she'll grow up in a world just like Frank did, where this brand new technology was there, but it's second nature to her. She's not even going to think about it. So we've been on this road of AI for a lot longer than you think. It was actually first developed in the 50s. Yeah, the 50s. Now, we didn't have the computational power to facilitate a lot of the things that we have today. But it's been around a while. This idea has been with us. And so what we're seeing today is the culmination of those efforts. And now we have the computational power to actually start putting it in place. And it's a neat place to be. This is a really cool thing. For my own part, I've been teaching some form of artificial intelligence for, I don't know, a better part of a decade, primarily machine learning, which one of our speakers was talking about using as just a tool. These are becoming second nature with my students. Artificial intelligence is something that isn't going to leave people behind. It's not something to be afraid of. It's something to learn about. It's something to use as a new tool. And it's not just generative AI. So how many people in here have used ChatGPT? And it's pretty cool. A little bit of a party trick, right? But that's what people thought lights were to begin. It was kind of a party trick. Computers, nobody really knew what to do with them when you first got them. I don't know how many people were around when the internet first came online, but remember, it was like, so what do we do with it now? People had all these grand ideas. If you were an academic, it's going to be this just cache of research information. But what did it end up being? Something very different. Kind of a lot of shopping and a Pornhub. But we all use it, right? We're all facilitating everything we do with these tools. AI will be the same way. It's been around for a long time. So we're not there yet. We're not at the culmination just because these things are rolling out. Stay tuned. The big players, remember the big players at the internet? A lot of you don't, because they faded. New players will take over. New applications will be out there. But I would say embrace this. Learn about it. If you think it's something you can use in your personal life or your business, jump in. You're not going to break it, just like you didn't break the internet. Jump in, use this stuff, play with it. There's open source applications all over the place, way beyond ChatGPT. There's a lot of things out there. Embrace this technology and let it carry you over. Let the wave continue. Be part of it. Thank you very much.
Questions for Jimmie? Go back here.
I'm not negative on AI. I thought the fear was that AI could be more intelligent than us, and then they would start controlling us. What would you say about that?
I would say that all AI has to be trained. Are there applications, are there things that AI does that are more robust than what a person can do? Sure, but Excel is like that too, right? There are a lot of things. Can it become sentient? Probably not, right? It has to be trained. That's one of the things that I think people miss out on when they're talking about AI, when you hear people refer to things. It's always going to have to be trained. It has to have something to learn from. And so that idea of it being smarter, being faster, yes. Being able to do more calculations, absolutely. But we've been doing that. We've been improving on those kinds of things since the slide rule. I don't know how many people have ever used a slide rule, but it was a heck of a lot easier than trying to do it on a piece of paper. We had calculators. Yes, they are going to get faster. Yes, they are going to be able to do more. Are they going to be smarter than the people that invented them? I don't think so.
Other questions?
So how do you envision the role of people interpreting AI? Like, will there be a role for people that are very analytical to take the big data and reduce it to come to decisions?
That is such a good question. I love the fact that, and I didn't plant that. Absolutely. there is absolutely a place for people doing that kind of thing. One of the problems, say 4 or 5 years ago, a lot of the big platforms started rolling out machine learning algorithms, right? And all of you guys I know have faced the same thing. And it became very, very available, except that only a small fraction of the people who had the results knew what they meant. So the ability to interpret those results, to understand things like statistical distributions, is going to require people to do that. Can you train the machines to do it? Yeah. I mean, eventually that may happen. But yes, absolutely. Being able to take that data and get it into a form that's not only usable, but that allows possibly the results of that to be used in other models, yeah, that's going to need interpretation, absolutely.
Yeah, with AI impacting pretty much every facet of our lives, what's your view on the safety, responsibility, and ethics associated with this technology? Yeah, I mean, it's a good question, and I think it's a question that's being asked more, which is a good thing. Those kinds of things are in the control, of course, of the people that use them, to some extent. Again, it kind of goes to a little bit of the same question, the need for people to understand really well what they're using as training data. And in terms of the open source generative AIs that are going through the internet and things like that, that's one thing. But a lot of generative AIs are actually in very contained environments. And when you put those in contained environments, it's very, very important that you understand the features, the data that you're training. I think in a lot of cases, and there have been a lot of well-publicized ones, where models turned out to be biased in one way or another. I don't think that was something overt. I think it was the people who were doing it didn't understand sometimes what to put in and sometimes what not to put in. But I do think that is something that has to be focused on. People have to be trained, though. Again, people with skills in statistics, people with skills in machine learning, people that are trained rather than just grabbing something and say, let's run with it. That training is really important.
Go right here.
Do you see a role for government regulation in AI, and exactly how?
Absolutely not. How's that? Short and sweet. Absolutely not. We are, in particular in the United States, a country built on innovation, not regulation. If you want to see what it looks like when you lead with regulation, go to Europe, go to the UK. You see a lot coming out of there. You see a lot of huge companies coming out of there, besides Novo Nordisk and the weight loss drug. You don't see a lot coming out of there, right? Leading with regulation is a huge mistake. I can't emphasize it enough. I spent time up at Congress, I don't know, a couple of months ago, and I tried to hammer home that point. Do not lead with regulation. This will not be good for the industry, it will not be good for these kinds of tools, and it certainly will not be good for the United States.
Last question.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Dr. Jimmie. This has been awesome. And just to stitch together maybe some of the presentations tonight, I'm wondering, sitting here, how do I use AI to better launder my money and, and buy cryptocurrency at the right price to get rich beyond my wildest dreams? No, actually, all right, so let me do a better legal question. How can I use AI to help me with my stock picks so that I can retire a little bit earlier and drink more beer on the beach?
What an awesome retirement plan that is. I love that retirement plan. Who doesn't want that? Absolutely. In fact, so it was mentioned that, yes, I do work at Duke, and I run a graduate program there. My other hat, my other coffee mug, is with a company called Frontier Foundry, and that's exactly what we do. We're kind of
a research group that builds algorithms using artificial intelligence for money managers, for investment managers, and sometimes it's picking stocks, sometimes it's optimizing the volatility of a portfolio, sometimes it's meeting certain goals that a portfolio has. And we have a whole team of scientists. They have very different backgrounds. That's another really interesting thing. So one woman, her PhD's in biomedical engineering. She's also an MD. We have somebody with petrochemical engineering experience, finance experience. So we're getting a lot of different perspectives. And I think almost all AI, that's one of the things that it really benefits from, is a lot of different perspectives, multiple perspectives. So can you do that? Absolutely. It's being done now.
Thank you, Jimmie. Great stuff.
You.